And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at a game called Relic Expedition. This has a very strong jungle adventure game. You're here looking for relics. Think of Indiana Jones, okay? That's the kind of game this is, but it has this very strong sense of exploration too, where you go through and find new games, new areas. Here you have tiles that are hexagons you'll be going through. Let me show you a little bit about how this game plays, and we'll be back. Here we see kind of an initial setup. You see that there's a map, there's a starting tile that's placed in the middle. Each player gets a colored explorer that they're going to place on a helicopter pad. Some starting tiles are kind of randomly placed. These have a different backing than the rest of the tiles in the game. And one of the players is going to be chosen to go first, and the game is going to begin. You'll notice that some tiles have things placed on them. For example, there's a banana tree here, and so a banana is placed on this tile. On a player's turn, they're going to be rolling 2 dice. One of the dice is an animal die, and if an animal symbol is rolled, that matching animal is moved by the players. If a blank, no animal is moved. The other die shows how many actions you get. You have 2, 3, or 4 actions that you can pull. I believe there's 2 2s, 3 3s, and a 4. So usually you'll get a 3 on this. An action that you have can be moving on the board. Now as you move your guy on the board, it costs 1 action to move to a space next to you. It costs 2 actions if you go through trees. And so you can see that to go from here to here costs 1, but to go from here to here costs 2. When you do move to a new spot on the board, you will place tiles from stacks that are placed like this. And so here you can see I put out another helicopter pad has been found in a pile of quicksand. And if I moved again onto one of these, I wouldn't move into quicksand, hopefully. Then I might place that more. Oh look, I found another banana tree. Here I found an artifact and another artifact here. And since I'm next to those artifacts, I'm going to place those artifacts face up from an artifact pile. Now artifacts. Now this is important. There are many different artifacts that come in this game. To win the game, you need to get 4 artifacts with the same symbol or with the same color. Players have a little tray here, and as you collect the different artifacts, when you move through them, you can pick them up and put them in here. One of the actions that players can do is they can reach into a bag and pull out different supplies that might be able to help them. For example, maybe I have a raft. I need a raft if I'm ever going to be able to travel down the river. Or a vine. This vine will let me swing over quicksand. Or here, I can sedate a panther in case the panther ever attacks me. So this little thing here lets me hold all the different pieces of equipment. If I have a machete, I can move through the forest. Instead of spending 2 movement, it only costs me 1. If I have a lamp, I can go into the cave. When moving on to new terrain, this is poison ivy. I don't know that I would necessarily want to be there. And discovering things, sometimes one of the tiles you discover might lead to some existing terrain. In this instance, this one here leads to a mountain. So there's a big mountain piece with a pile of artifacts, and so if I have the mountain climbing equipment, I can climb up there, although there's also a helipad I could fly up there. And when I get up here, I can find a whole pile of artifacts. Now this game has a rule about cursed artifacts, which means you can only take half the artifacts in a pile, and you put one of your little markers there to show that you've done that, so that you can't take all of them there. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense thematically, but it's to stop you from getting huge amounts of these artifacts. The other pieces of terrain, this is the mountain, but there's also the possibility of getting a river, which has artifacts down the river. Of course, to get down the river, you need to have a raft, and then there is a cave, which is pretty cool looking too. And you go down that cave. So those are pretty neat. Those you have to find the entrance to get to those tiles. There's all sorts of other tiles. I showed you some that bring out artifacts, but many of the tiles will bring out different animals. You can see here that this tile brings out a panther. And there are tiles that will bring out boars, tiles that bring out monkeys, and tiles that bring out snakes. Now, players, when these are rolled, can move these animals, and each of the animals moves differently and does different things depending on what it does. If a snake moves into your spot when someone moves a snake, and the way animals are moved is whoever rolls the animal moves, let's say snakes are rolled, whoever rolls it moves one of the snakes, and then each other player moves a different snake if there's enough snakes to go around. A snake will make someone lose a turn. Their next turn they get back up, and that's all they do, and then they can go again on the next turn unless someone's made them lose another turn. A boar will move into you and make you drop all your backpack items and lose a turn. A panther makes you drop all your backpack items and go back to the nearest helipad. And a monkey will come and steal an item from your backpack, or he can pick one up from the board and run with it. And so that's basically the different actions that players have. They can drop items. You can spend 3 actions to go from one helipad to another helipad. Animals are moving around. You can move animals into quicksand to kill them. So there goes the panther. Blah. All right. And you just got to go around, moving around, dropping items, picking up items until one person gets 4 artifacts of the same color or type. That person then wins. Relic Expedition has really spectacular components. I really enjoy these little trays that hold the different tokens. I think that's a cool idea. It's cooler than keeping them in front of you. I like the fact that no matter where you are, you can look for more equipment and how the equipment makes sense. A machete helps you get through brush. Vines help you get over the quicksand. Bananas can distract monkeys when they come after you. Traps can get rid of panthers. You know, it's pretty neat, and I love the finding the entrance to the river, the cave, and the mountain. In fact, I wish there was more things like that. There was like 6 different things you could find. A lost temple would be cool. But maybe that's expansion stuff and I don't know about it. Gameplay itself is very simple and easy in the actions. Now, as a gamer, there's a couple things that bug me. One is the action die. I hate that idea that you roll and you get 2 actions and I get 4. Ha 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 ha. Just seems kind of, why not just give everybody 3 actions? On your turn you have 3 actions. Why roll the die? It just adds luck to the game for, I don't know, that's something I don't like. I'm also not a big fan of the animal movement. I think it's cool to move the animals, but someone can get waylaid. Like, oh, a panther moved into you, and you get back up, and next turn the panther moves into you again, and you lose another turn, and everyone's laughing, and you lose several turns. Losing several turns in a row is never really that fun. Now, despite that, the game is super high quality, and I think it works really well as a light family game. That's what you have to look at it as, because there really isn't a lot of strategy. You go out exploring and hope you find the relics that you need, finding matches for them. And the theme of exploration is really strong in this game, and it's one of the best features of the game. It's certainly one of the things that I think, you know, the artwork's good, the components are good, but the exploration is the coolest thing about the game, to see what you could find next. And as I said, if there's even a negative about that, it would just be, I wish there was more exploration, more cool things to find. So, who would I recommend this for? I'd recommend this for families with children. I think that that's who it fits, although you got to be careful. You could play nicer rules where maybe the animals don't hurt so bad, but there could be some hard feelings there if snakes and boars and panthers keep coming after you and then monkeys steal your relics. So there's a strong kind of take that element to it, but it's a great first production for this company, and I like to see what they do in the future. It's not really a game for me, because while it's beautiful and I love the exploration sense, the action die and the animals is just a little too random for me, but I can see some families really getting a kick out of it.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Hey, Tom, we got to shut that door.